What is up, everybody? It is the Oracle at Motion here, coming at you with another tarot reading. So we have the Wheel as the card of the month this month. And for those who missed the first reading, so the Wheel is all about this cycle of life and kind of tapping into it and understanding that what's difficult will pass, what's good will pass, what we're indifferent towards will pass. But also finding the power in this transition and being able to utilize the most of experiences or ride out uncomfortable experiences with this knowledge. In traditional tarot, this is the Wheel of Fortune, which is kind of about fate and good luck and destiny and stuff like that. So tying it into that is understanding that there's always something good to be found in our circumstances if we look at it with the right perception. Now, tying into the rune for this week, we have Manaz, which is literally mankind. The esoteric of it is humankind or awareness. It is the rune of the divine structure of intelligence in the human soul or psyche, rune of the horizons of human existence and collective potential. The psi of it is mind and memory, the difference between human and all other life, development of the intellect, rational mind, perfected intelligence. Energy is psychic order of the gods reflected in humankind, projection of self into time. Mundane is thinking, planning, analysis, the human condition, people at large. The contemporary word of that would be the masses. The divinations of it is the divine structure, sustainability, intelligence, awareness, social order, divine influence in life. The reverse meaning of it would be depression, morality, or mortality, blindness, self-delusion, collective suicide, bigotry, elitism, and intellectual arrogance. And this rune governs self-actualization, a realization of the divine structure in humankind, increase in intelligence, memory, and mental powers, unlocking the third eye or the mind's eye, activating the dynamics of your own inner Christus or higher self, awareness of our roles as co-creators with the gods and nature, mental and spiritual potential. So in regards to the wheel, it's kind of about sliding into this, but the oracle card for this week is obstacles, and it says unexpected obstructions, frustration, difficulties, feelings of hopelessness, struggle, and discouragement. And that's kind of an unpleasant card to get, but this is my own personal experience. 9/10 of the growth that I've encountered in life has come from obstacles. And when you tie it in with the rune and kind of this increase of awareness, kind of collectivism, projection of the self into time, like obstacles are actually what brings that out. It's kind of the friction that can then really polish us and make us stand strong. And when you tie the obstacles with the wheel, it's understanding that as long as you can kind of stay rooted and not give up, these obstacles will pass eventually, and getting comfortable with that and not trying to force it, but also being persistent. Last week was decrease too. Decrease is sometimes about kind of hiding out and letting the storm pass. And sometimes with obstacles, it's just about becoming firmly planted but flexible with it, and allowing the energy of the situation to change as the wheel turns. So as far as the Rumi Oracle card, we have open your eyes and you will see at last. He is walking in your garden like the breeze at dawn. And last week too, there was this card of kind of the universe reaching out to you. So this is saying that your higher power, whatever you believe in, the universe, whatever, is showing up for you, and they're actually going to be there throughout these obstacles. Quitting in the face of obstacles is a lack of faith, not only in yourself, but in whatever you believe in. So show up, let your higher power sort these things out, and in return, you're going to see some of their divinity reflected in you and your ability to own up to these situations and stand up and maybe become a little bit more flexible about your timeline or lose some of the rigidity in your approach. Obstacles aren't a bad thing. Challenges really can define our character. We'll get into the first card of this week. So you have the sun right off the rip. The sun casts light on everything else in this reading. The wheel card is actually a really good card. So it definitely says that if you can push through some of the obstacles of this week and kind of keep an open mind, your sense of self is going to improve, because the yellow in the sun card is about sense of self. There's this orange in there, which is about creativity and sexual energy. So there's going to be this like creative burst from this whole experience. And then there's tones of red in there, which to me is about kind of the material, some kind of material reward. And I hate to bring materialism into tarot readings, but it can be a component sometimes, and there could be some kind of shift in your world as a result of pushing through these obstacles. There's also these First Nations people dancing on this card, so it's kind of livening up your spirit. And there is this bald eagle soaring, which is getting this kind of higher, loftier perspective on your life, and really seeing the totality of the picture. So it's going to be something good. But then you follow it up with the Five of Bows. So bows is relative to swords in traditional tarot, and swords is relative to mind. This card shows a character kind of window shopping and seeing all these different reflections of themselves. So to me, this is kind of not really knowing who we are in some sense. I'm sure that some other people can connect with this, but sometimes I lose my sense of who I am, and I become kind of frightened when good things happen. So the obstacle could sometimes even be good things happening and being uncomfortable with it. This is when knowing yourself, kind of like I talked about last week, really becomes important. Really knowing who you are and allowing yourself to move forward in a good way, having this stable foundation of who you are. But yeah, that can be kind of a difficult circumstance if you're not prepared for it. But that's also the wheel. Sometimes we go through these phases of not knowing who we are. But that's when we can tap into ourselves on a deeper level, because we can really begin to explore that. So thinking that you know yourself on a deep level, like I had mentioned previously, can be really good, but it could also prevent us from really seeing ourselves. So when we question who we are, we can really begin to explore and integrate different perspectives. And that can be a really fulfilling and positive experience, although it starts off as difficult and uncomfortable. And then tying it into the Rumi Oracle card, you can kind of see this divine pattern in your life when you have these experiences. And again, obstacles can really become opportunities to shape your life in such a strong, meaningful way. And then we get to the last card of this week, which is the Ten of Bones. So bones are about wands in traditional tarot. Wands are all about fire and creativity. This card shows this person kind of leaning back and embracing this puma, or mountain lion, or whatever you want to call it. And to me, this mountain lion kind of speaks of this primal apex predator mentality. And it's really getting in tune with your animal instinct in a good way, and not so much in this, but in like a power sort of way. So from not knowing who we are, we can transition into the power of knowing who we are. And with that divine understanding, we begin to access new opportunities, I guess is the easiest way that I can put it. I've been reading Carlos Castaneda, and one of the things that he talks about in Tales of Power is having to clear the table of the tonal, which is kind of how we relate in the material world. And when we clear this or rearrange this concept of the material world, we get this capacity to perceive what's called the Nagual or Nagul, or however you pronounce it. And that's kind of this intangible, inexplicable element of great potential. And to me, that's more of being in an animal state where we have less of this reason behind everything. So when you really begin to remove all of these false characters and open up your animal potential, your power, the power differential between you and other people begins to shift, I guess is the best way that I could put it. And some of this stuff might be somewhat nebulous, but I'm doing the best I can in transitioning or transmitting like some complex ideas in through these tarot card readings. So I hope that you get something from it, and if not, maybe a seed was planted, or if not, maybe I'm just some dude rambling behind a microphone. And I don't know. It's going to be a good week. There's going to be a lot of shifts if you're willing to take them. Just remember that obstacles will pass. There's some wisdom in there. It's okay to look at yourself and really evaluate who you are and what behaviors serve you. And it's also good to get out of the way and sometimes set reason behind you and just let instinct and intuition take their course. You're being led by something greater than you if you'll let it. Sometimes you just have to get out of the way and step into your power. And I hope that helps. Peace.